Since his earliest days, man has always hunted wild animals. He has used their skins and fur as clothing. In the forests of North America, animals were plentifully supplied with long hair to protect them against the cold winters. With the onward flow of civilization, fur ceased to be a mere necessity. As the apparel of kings and nobles, it drove men in search of new lands of fur and into contact with strange peoples. When the Indian trapper of North America first exchanged his pelts for the manufactures of the Old World, a new chapter opened in the modern fur trade. In this trading, all values were reckoned not in silver and gold, but in the skin of the beaver. So highly did the Europeans prize its rich brown pelt. In return, the Indian received knives, axes, cloth, and rifles. The lure of fur drew the Europeans deeper into the new continent. In the middle of the 17th century, Pierre Radisson traveled towards Hudson's Bay and through the country west of the Great Lakes. The Sieur de la Vérendrye, 80 years later, opened up the huge plains of the West. 50 years later again, Alexander Mackenzie explored the Northwest and was the first white man to reach the Pacific coast by the overland route. All these were men of the fur trade. From the 17th century on, fur trading posts of many companies sprang up, and around them clustered the early settlements of the Canadian people. As settlement grew throughout the country, the fur trading posts became important landmarks in each community. Some posts of the long-established Hudson's Bay Company have developed into trading centers in modern Canadian cities, such as Winnipeg. Fourth in size among Canada's cities, Winnipeg developed on the site of Fort Garry and the upper and lower fur trading posts. Canada is still the home of foxes, white, red, and silver, muskrats that live in marshes, beaver, the engineer of the animal kingdom and symbol of Canada, mink and its cousin, the marten, with its bushy tail, otter, the rare lynx, ring-tailed raccoons, the little ermine, bears, and more important, rabbits and squirrels, and the skunk, who has his own way of protecting his coat. Winter in Canada is the season for trapping. The animal's thick coats of fur are then in their prime. The trapper travels by dog sled over snow-covered fields and frozen lakes. His small outfit is just enough to keep himself and his dogs alive as he visits his trap line. Perhaps he has a cabin in the forest. Perhaps he'll sleep in a tent or a rough shelter of branches. Each man has his own trapping ways, his own secret methods, but all share the lore of the forest. Reading the white page of the snow for signs of mink or weasel, he makes the round, setting his traps. One man's trap line may extend over 60 miles. He may have as many as 200 traps. He will exchange the pelts of the animals he has trapped for the goods needed to keep his family supplied. Far to the north, in the treeless Arctic, where the hunter of the white fox lives on the edge of a continent, there is today a well-established network of trading posts. linked to each other by radio. How much the trapper's furs will buy depends largely on prices quoted at fur auctions in Canada and abroad. The fortune of the trapper varies from year to year as the cycle of animal life swings from plenty to scarcity and back again. Life in the bleak north is changing, for the modern age has brought it closer to the outside world. By means of radio communication, fur prices at the post can be adjusted to prices in the world markets. The buyers at the fur auction in Montreal have inspected the furs previously. Now they compare the auctioneer's numbers with their catalogs and make their bids. After sale, the raw fur is ready to be transformed in the mass production processes of the modern fur dressing plant. They are washed in revolving vats. The last bits of flesh are removed by holding the skin close to a spinning circular knife. The skins are tanned, greased, and beaten. They are dyed and dried, then brushed and finished. Montreal, the capital of the fur industry, is also Canada's fashion center. Manufacturing of fur garments calls for expert craftsmanship. A designer in Toronto lays down the pattern for the coat. The most delicate operations are the cutting and sewing of small strips of fur, which will be built up into a jacket, wrap, or coat. Canada has pioneered in raising fur-bearing animals in captivity to supplement its natural catch. Within 50 years, the breeding of fox and mink on thousands of farms all over Canada has become an important part of the fur trade. By adopting scientific methods, much like those of the cattle breeder, the fur farmer can produce novel colors and qualities of fur. After many failures in the early period of experimentation, the modern fur farmer has arrived at a thorough knowledge of the animal's habits and needs. Government inspectors maintain a high standard in farm-raised furs by sorting them according to grade. Among the muskrat trappers of Manitoba and Saskatchewan, they supervise the quality of the catch. In motorized sleds, the inspectors travel through areas that have been made into natural fur farms. Planning is necessary if certain animals are to be trapped regularly. Conservation schemes are carried out by the men of the bush. The beaver, glory of Canada's early trading days, has seriously decreased in places, so beaver in well-stocked areas are caught and taken to districts where they've become rare. The beaver's engineering skill will bring back its familiar dams to lakes and rivers that had long been without them. The old days when the fur trader alone ruled half a continent are gone forever. Today, the traditional methods of the fur trade have become part of Canada's modern industrial economy.